Hello gainers, Ralphie here with some fitter philosophy. Sharing the fitness of philosophy, not as an academic discipline, but as a practical, rational, logical, reasonable option to improve, sometimes dramatically, the quality of our lives. Excuse me, I'm going to slightly... that's better. The problem with using a wide-angle lens, well, the advantage actually, which is what I'm using, in case you're wondering what I'm recording with, an SLR Canon EOS 750D on a little wibbly-wobbly holder for stability. And the lens is a zoom lens 10 to 18 millimeters, which is great because it kind of keeps things in focus, and it means that your microphone, the shotgun microphone, is picking up the sound of my voice much more clearly than if I was having to hold the camera further away. Anyway, enough of that. The subject for my walk-in talk, because I'm walking quite slowly because I'm on a pebbly beach, as you can see. Very nice too. No litter around here because we've got a group called the Beach Buddies on the Isle of Man who go about the beaches cleaning them all up. And it's one of the most useful things that humans can do to the planet. Look after it. Because planet Earth doesn't need humans, but humans can't survive without planet Earth. Sort of. Anyway, honesty. Honesty is often presented as a virtue. It's often viewed from a religious point of view, that if you want to go to heaven, you should be honest. We should be honest. Honest with others, and honest with the authorities, and generally good people in the broadest context. However, I would like to suggest, excuse me a second, isn't that a fantastic pebble? Can you see that? It's almost spherical. I'll keep that. What was I talking about? Honesty. It's often seen from a religious point of view, a traditional point of view, as something that's a virtue, rather than something which is more important and tangible to the quality of our life and the value of our lives that we live, not just for ourselves, but for those around us. So, I would like to suggest that honesty is something which needs practice, because we get clear points of reference as regards lying and deceit. And as I've mentioned in a previous video, one of the worst lies that we can tell, the most damaging, debilitating lies, are the lies that we make for ourselves, that nobody else is involved in. It's just the lies that we believe of ourselves, because we're self-deceiving in them. And if we're not honest, which is the kind of the other side of this equation, if we avoid being honest with ourselves, we can't get to know ourselves. And there's no shame in being honest in acknowledging our faults. One of my faults is that I'm not particularly technically literate, although I appear to be. I'm absolutely hopeless at editing, which is one reason, I'll be honest with you, I'm being honest with me, one reason that I don't edit my videos, they're all done in one take, and I've always done it this way, is because I get very confused when I'm editing, and I get things all jumbled up and make a right mess. So I'm honest with myself about it, and so I deal with it, rather than trying to kind of pretend that everything's just super techie. But we've got to be honest with our shortcomings, and importantly honest not just with the negative side of our personality and the people we are, because when we do that we get to know where it comes from, who we inherited it from, what circumstances in our life has led to this negativity within ourselves that we're honest about in acknowledging. But importantly too, it's acknowledging the qualities that we have, being honest about our skills and our decency. The fact is, the more we are what you would call decent people, the better the quality of our lives, because we're living our lives beyond the superficial context of the human condition. We're living our lives in the context of the reality of the wider universe and of the lives, and this is where it gets controversial, but there's proof for this now, there's scientific evidence for this, the lives we have lived before we were born and the lives we are preparing for after we die. This is no longer just the realm of religious theology. This is getting scientific evidence around it in a quite spectacular way. In fact, I'm going to introduce a book in a few videos' time, which I recommend you read, about the legal perspective of life after death. It's very, very interesting. And having that perspective, having that maturity of self, important that, it's developing the maturity of self. As we do so, we start to understand more, we see more, we develop more, we grow more, not just in the context of the age in which we live, but really within the context of general humanity. And it's down to honesty. It's a simple technique. It's like breathing deeply when you're doing a little bit of meditation. It's not rocket science, gainers. It's really just the repetition of simple techniques. And one of these techniques is honesty. I'm going to conclude by saying, get yourself a pen and paper and create yourself an honesty page. Do this once a month. Stick it on the fridge, up in the kitchen wall, in the bathroom mirror, wherever you want, and list 12 things. Only 12 things, that's all you need, that you're being honest about. Honest about your appearance, capabilities, skills as a musician, patience with other people, the amount of time you give to looking after your relationships, how much you care about the work you do and the job you do. Be honest about it, because when we have honesty in our thoughts and we get honesty in our lives, as a result of which, a direct result of which, we can live better quality of lives by ourselves, for ourselves, under our own points of reference, because we're being honest. Finally, I would conclude by saying the more we are honest, the more we expose and allow to surface the lies which we subject not just ourselves to, but the lies that we are subjected to by others, and in particular the deep state, which is just doing its job, frankly. I'm not condemning it. It's real life. We get on with it. And do you know what, gainers? At least let's be a little bit more honest about it, because over time it all adds up. I'm Ralphie, happy to share, and I will now leave you with a beautiful view.